Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. People are just joining in. I'm just gonna wait a few seconds here to see who else is going to. People, just a minute to join the call. Okay. All right. Well, we'll start with the introduction. So my name is Crypto Mystic, and I recently joined the team as marketing director, and I'm so delighted to be here with you tonight. It's tonight for me. It might be morning for you, but welcome, welcome. The team and I are so happy that you're here with us right now, and we understand that your time is valuable, so we're grateful that you've chosen to spend some of it with us. We hope you'll find this AMA informative because we have some exciting updates to share with you. And we also hope you'll have fun too, and hopefully win a prize. More on that soon. On today's AMA, you'll hear important token development and token mechanics updates. You'll get information on the launch. I know many of you have questions about that. We'll talk about the pre-sale, we'll talk about the whitelist, and we'll announce a really cool contest we have in store for you. Once the team is done with their announcements, we'll open the floor and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. And I hope you prepared some good or even great questions because the person who asks the best one will be awarded 0.05 BNB. I know that some of you were also curious about the team's opinion on current market conditions that was posted in the group earlier. And so you'll be able to hear what the team thinks. And we invited a very special guest who is a TA expert to share his opinion on current market conditions as well. And in case you haven't seen the announcement earlier, at the very end of this AMA, you might win a spot on the whitelist. So stay until the end, and at the end, we'll pick a random participant to get a spot on the whitelist with us. So that is it. Without further ado, let's get this party started with an update on the UNBOX token. Surian, do you want to do the honors?
Give me 1 second.
Okay, 1 second. Or I don't know if Samuel is here. Samuel is not here yet. Okay, he'll probably be joining us a little bit later on. So.
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. Um,
Oh.
so we have some development around the token, and originally we had the idea to have the token ready by some time ago already, but we had some issues with the reward mechanisms and the structuring around that, where we came across a few ways where potential exploits could occur. So we have gone to another developer to finalize our product that has a record in doing what we're doing. So we are that should be finished by tomorrow, I think it was. There is a small change in the reward structure due to this. That is going to be a direct reflection rather than having a pool for the claim. This is purely security-based and a security-based decision, as we have been looking into all the projects and the history of exploits and whatnot in the reward pools. Am I missing something?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I believe that we also have some updates on the token mechanics. It has been announced before in our group, but I guess Sujin wants to take the part of talking about the reward. Would be interesting to bring again the updated token mechanics.
Yeah. So originally we had set 2.25% to the direct reward pool and 2.25% to the treasury. We have increased the reward pool or the direct reflection to 2.5%, and we have decreased the treasury reflection by down to 2%. No, so I see there is a question from in the chat. Will the direct reflections be given out every 2 weeks, or will it be continuous? It will be continuous. So it will come in. I'm not sure exactly if it's every 15, 30 minutes or how it's. I don't remember exactly now. But we can come back to more details of how that works on a later call.
Dev right now, and then once we have everything, like Syrian said, we have been given a completion date for the token by end of day tomorrow. So everything should be finalized, and then we'll have, once we have all the details precise and clear like this, it's a great question, Dreaming Heroes. We'll come back and give you updates, and we'll definitely have another AMA shortly here with all of that information. There's another question here.
Yeah. Will there be an anti-whale system set up for the buy and sell of the token? There will be a max 1% sell. There is no max on the buy. Yeah, that was another thing. There is now, as voted as voted in by the already existing investors, we have set for both private and pre-sale. There will be a 6 weeks vesting period, which means that yeah, the money will come out in portions. As far as I'm aware, it will be given out to everybody as it reaches certain marks, which means that just holding one token will essentially make you eligible. If you will receive a lot for that, I don't think so. Not in the first year or so, but who knows? In a year, it could be. But there is no minimum as far to my awareness. Any more questions around the mechanics that we can clarify?
Anyone can also feel free to turn on their microphone. You can ask a question that way as well.
And what we can do as well is, if there's no other questions right at the moment, or if it takes a little bit to get the questions, we can move on to the next announcement, and then.
Yeah. I think we can do that. Yeah, there is another one more question for the NFT. Is there any staking process to receive the reward? So, as we are looking into now, there is going to be a few different sets of NFTs that will be built in different ways. Some NFTs, yes, they will be stakeable, and you need to stake them. There can be gamification processes in there. Exactly how this will look is still in the making. Some NFTs you do not have to stake at all to receive value. It depends on the how to say, let's call it the series that we have.
So I'm not sure. I think I was having a problem. I had to log back in.
There she is.
Sorry. Did you
Yeah,
hear
I
me?
think you cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Technical
No
difficulties.
worries. It happens.
um,
So
so I was
I,
inviting Joanna to speak on the next topic, but I see that some questions have come in. So
yeah, I can go to the last one first, and then I can go to the second last one after. Um, if they have levels like tier 1 and tier 2, potentially you could see it like this. Imagine that we will have some of our NFT series, not all of them, but some of the NFT series we are going to have is going to have assets backed under it, which means that there is like these assets can have their own mechanics, reward models. What it really depends on how we build it. Of course, Unbox is going to be one of those tokens, which is going to yield in itself. So and some series can have tier 1, tier 2 rarities. All of these that depends on basically the creator of the set or what we set as a team also. As mentioned, exactly how this is going to look like is not. We are not on the finalization phase. There is still hurdles to get over before we can say that is fine. That is absolutely going to work this direction or that direction. And there's a question: how has morale been with the team these past weeks? And personally, it's been really good. We are now. There's a few of us gathered in one location, and we're talking a lot face to face. Maybe somebody more wants to say also, but things are moving, and we're going. How to say? Things are getting more organized as well. So regardless of everything around with markets and all of this, we keep on marching. That's the way to do it.
Ooh, that next question's a zinger.
Yeah.
What are your major goals to achieve in the next 3 to 4 years? What are your plans to expand and gain more adoption? How does Pandora elevate crypto participants' understanding about the project?
So I'd like to actually table that question. It's a great question. A few questions in there. Some of it is going to be answered. Well, anyway, yeah, I think we'll come back to these questions that are not specifically about the token mechanics and tokenomics. We'll let Joanna kind of introduce, like I mentioned, the launch and the whitelist and the pre-sale. And then we'll come back to all of these questions if it's not specifically related to the segment we just had. Does that sound okay to you guys? Just so we can stay on track and make sure we cover everything we want to cover and then open it up.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
sounds
good.
good.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. So Joanna, you are
yeah.
on, sister.
So when it comes down to the pre-sale whitelisting, I mean the pre-sale, the amount of BNBs has been set because of the amount of private sale that we gathered, which was 94.95 BNB, and the pre-sale is 21% more expensive, let's put it that way. So we have a set amount of BNBs. Given the average of how many BNBs were invested on the private sale, we got to the number of 111 whitelisting spots for the pre-sale. So inside of this number, we have a few categories, as in it's kind of like automated. If you're part of the team, including the mods, you already get your whitelisted spot, but also the private sales investors already have their spot, their wallet whitelisted. Prior to that, not prior, but sorry, adding to that, we have another few ways to get your whitelisting spot. I guess you guys have seen, especially now this week also, we have 3 whitelisting spots on the game competition, but there is a contest that will also happen. We call it the creative contest, and 5 people will be up for grabs to get their whitelisting spot. It's about creating content, creating art, being creative, and putting your ideas out there with images or a meme or a GIF, something that goes in that direction about the project. Where it's going to happen and where it's going to be voted will be on our channel on Discord. But then when it comes down to when it will the whitelisting start, with a few things such as the game competitions, it has started already. But as Surian mentioned previously, as we would like to have the token ready, and then there's a timeline for us to launch, as in, okay, the token is ready, we already contacted who is going to audit it, and then after the audit, refinement and going back to the token to make sure that it is what we want and that it is tested and it's the perfect unbox, and only after that we are going to launch. So as soon as we have the token and the audit is going on, we will have more of a date when the whitelisting officially will start, and then we have also a launch date. We'll come back to you with Medium articles and announcements also in our channel regarding the specific, not just the dates, but also how can you get to it and get whitelisted spot.
Perfect. Yes, there will be a series of steps that are pretty typical in our industry of how to get whitelisted, and we'll be using CC bot, which you're familiar with. How we're giving
it's our friend, trusted here in the game competition, sending not just the rewards but also tipping each other. And there's going to be a maximum of 3 BNB per person or spot, and a minimum of 0.1 BNB to participate in the pre-sale. We gathered these numbers, taking into account also what happened in the private sale and the number of whitelisting spots. So it would be good for people to have that into consideration when participating and having respect, I guess, for the neighbor investor.
Perfect. Fantastic. Is there anything else about that you want to add, or was that does that feel complete, Joanna, for now? And if you have any questions specifically related to the launch, the whitelisting, the creative contest, this is a good time to ask them. I see Dreaming here is typing. Okay, we'll see what the questions might be here. We'll wait a moment. And yes, we'll make this very clear, how to get on the whitelist. There's a very simple link. It'll be everywhere. And you'll know how to get on.
Yeah.
And Joanna, you also
about the everywhere. Is it about this? Our socials and our official links are all in the unbox.team. So it's always good to remember For now, we haven't had any copycats or anything that way, but it is very common in the crypto space. Someone just make a username or a group that is very, very close to ours. They post a link or a wallet where you should put your money. Be wary and take your links from the official website. That way, you know that that's what you're entering, and that's the Medium articles from us and our Telegram group and Twitter account. We made in a way where all of our socials, or most of them, I think until now, all of them are Unbox Pandora's. That way, it's easier for you to make sure to be on the right social media, on the right account.
Yes, and to go to the official site to get them in case you want to get a hold of the team, to make sure that you're connecting with us and not some impersonator, right? That's important. We'll have reminders in the group as well.
Yeah, I see there's two questions that came up here. One was Dreaming
Yes.
Heroes. What would happen if there are still vacant whitelist spots by the end of the process, or specifically the unpurchased unboxed tokens? I think I can answer to that one. At the end of the process, there will be, if there is exactly the timeline of all of this, we will come up with. But the tokens that is not been claimed in the first period by the whitelisted wallets will be open for purchase for the public. But yet again, there's still the 3 BNB limit for each wallet. I hope that clarifies that.
And Joanna, did you announce the number of whitelist spots? Did you
Yeah,
mention that already?
Yes, so there will be 111. So 39 for the community, 5 for the creative contests. If you were a private sale investor, you'll be whitelisted already. I see a question from Crip Brian. Beside whitelisting spot, we will be also getting private sale spot by participating in future contests. So private sale that already happened prior to now. We have actually a giveaway that happened here in our Telegram, but we have it on Twitter. When we reach 222 followers, there will be an allocation of X Unbox. So this allocation was from the private sale. So yeah, it's interesting because then you get 21% more than that. I hope that clarifies the question, I guess.
And I think maybe Crib Brian, perhaps because the private sale has already happened. Okay, great. Yeah, maybe you meant pre-sale. Okay, cool. Awesome. So that was for the launch and the creative contest and the whitelisting and pre-sale. So again, we'll come back to you with exact dates once we have the token finalized and the audit completed, and we'll keep you updated as we go. So now we are going to open it up for questions. We could come back to the question that we tabled a little earlier, and after this open question session, we will hear from the team about their opinion on the current market conditions, and we have our very special guest expert who will opine as well, so definitely stay with us. We have the whitelist spot to give away at the end, and the best question will win a prize. So let's come back to, I think Viking, you started reading the question. Let's see, where were we? Okay, I'll read it again, and then whoever wants to take it can take it. So there's a few questions all in one. This is from Ricky. Yeah. What are your major goals to achieve in the next 3 to 4 years? What are your plans to expand and gain more adoption? How do Pandora elevate crypto participants' understanding about the project? So who's feeling called to answer at least one of those 3 questions on the team.
I think we can
Well,
take. Okay, if you have some working, you can go.
well, I was gonna try to tune in on the first question. What are your major goals to achieve in the next 3 to 4 years? And I'm picking that one because that's probably the hardest one to answer. I would have to say we would like to be a very established and productive NFT chain that is backed by assets of different types. That is unfortunately all I can say now until the first NFT wave is complete, and then we'll be able to really tell you the next 3 to 4 years. And the reason being is because of the particular thing that we are doing with these NFTs. For us to put that information out as a goal, it would really, honestly, it'd shoot us, or we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot. So I hope that answers the question. Anyone else can chime in on that.
I think it covers a big part. We are looking to touch. Yeah, no. I think I will scratch what I was going to say. I can answer a little bit to the next question. What are your plans to expand and gain more adoption? We are in communication with a few influencers already, and we're going to reach out to more that we have in our network. And we are going to create something we call the influencer program, where it's probably going to be renamed. It basically means that we will have tokens allocated to reward influencers that is willing to work with us on the way. And like this, instead of having to hire investors for one-time shout-outs and whatnot, we rather want to have people around us that we know that they are with us because of the project, and of course they will get the rewards for being with us on this. But it's just going to be an only win yet again, that it wins the community, it wins the influencers, and it wins the project, everything involved in the project.
I'd like to add in here, Surian, that's really good. From a in the entrepreneurial world, we'll call it, it's done a lot, and the idea is to have a lot of leverage in the connections that we're making. So instead of having a conversation that reaches only one investor, by partnering with influencers that have a reach of tens or hundreds of thousands of people in their tribe, in their communities, then we're aligning. And so this one conversation and this one relationship will give us exposure to a lot more people. And so we're looking at, we already are in conversation with several influencers like that, and we have more. And we want to create a forum for influencers to come together and actually create these kinds of joint ventures or partnerships. And so that's something that we're working on, which is a really cool concept and can yield with minimal efforts, big results. So, okay. And then we had another. Or is there anybody else who wants to speak to this aspect, Johanna or Viking? Or
I feel like you guys covered a lot already, so yeah. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. The other part of the question is, and I want to add one more thing here, and this is just something that I'm passionate about. We know that the crypto space is heavily male dominated and we love men. And it's wonderful to have women and to bring more women into the project. So I think that's going to be a focus as well, is how can we make this space more inviting, more enticing, and fun for women as well. So there's another aspect to that, which I am working on. So wanted to add that piece in. Okay, the next part of the question, or next question, how do Pandora elevate crypto participants' understanding about the project?
I guess I can add one point to that at least, is we are working on ways to build creative and educational content throughout our social medias. Over time, as we start rolling out technology, we will also have, of course, educational content around, like, what is it, why is it so, and whatnot. Yeah.
I would also add, and this is the question: how do Pandora elevate crypto participants' understanding about the project? Correct. So one thing that I can add back to what I was saying earlier is these. You see, we here at Pandora's, we're aware that NFT technology is far, 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 far more than just a JPEG or a PNG file, and so that is essentially what we're trying to tap into. Excuse me, not trying. That's essentially what we are tapping into, and so something tells us, and this is why we're embarking upon this project, is that when we use NFT technology for what it can really be used for, then that will grab the minds of people actively engaging in markets and technologies and things like this. So it'll be in our opinion, a much larger market than just, here's a monkey face on a JPEG. Buy it for 100,000. Thank you. Something tells us that the people and the awareness that we're going to be bringing into crypto with this project will be far superior to that what's currently going on.
I guess with that being said, it's a good opportunity to also say that this community, it's up for fun and engagement. It's plural. We can talk about things and we like to share also. And if you have some piece of news or information that you think is interesting, I guess the team is very open to news and to discussing things to spark these types of conversation. So if you see that something that interests you and you'd like to talk about it, and you see that it resonates with us and the project, feel free to drop a link or an article or something.
Yes, that's a good point. And I'd like to add something to answer the question, how do Pandora elevate crypto participants' understanding about the project? Part of this project is cryptic by design. And one of the things that's really important to us is there's a lot that we're working on behind the scenes that we cannot reveal yet. And so I know that some projects are really hypey and, promise a lot of different things. And we're of the mind to actually reveal things once they're pretty much ready, like in the works and pretty much ready, so we can actually talk about them, as opposed to promising this and that and then not delivering. So under promising and over delivering. And so there will be more announcements that are, I believe, you'll be excited to hear some really cool things in the works. And unfortunately, there's a lot we can't talk about yet, but the day will come that we will be able to talk about them. So
I want to add that there is actually a legal reason why we can't talk about it due to contracts we have signed, and yeah, it's not just us saying that we can't talk about it. It's an agreed upon thing that we have all signed.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's see, going through if there are other questions. Okay, there's a comment here. On light paper, I read your project will start with blockchain. So is this the last step on the roadmap? Who wants to take that one?
I'm not sure
I'm
if
actually
I
not
fully get that question, to be honest.
Same.
So
Brian,
if
can you
whoever,
clarify that?
We do
Yeah.
plan to start on the blockchain, if that helps, and we will, in the interim, reside on the blockchain. And we do actually intend to finish on the blockchain as well.
But it
Yeah.
might not be the realms we're planning on touching.
Aha.
Okay, so Brian, if you want to either clarify or ask another question. And okay, expanding from BSC is the question.
So yes, we have touched upon this subject on a few times before in AMAs, and yes, we are planning on leaving the BSC network at one point. Exactly when that will be is going to be later to be declared, and community will be well aware of it long before it happens. But yes, we will launch markets on other chains as well. How that is going to look like, yeah, there is some steps we need to yeah, exactly when or how, we don't know yet.
Okay, are there any other questions for the team at this time? You can either type them in or unmute yourself and join the voice call and ask it live. And if I don't see any questions, then we'll move on to the next segment, which is hearing from the team around the current market conditions. So let's do that. Let's move on to that. And who on the team would like to opine first?
Well,
hello, this is Mongoose.
All right.
I just want to do a quick mic check. Everyone can hear?
Absolutely.
Loud and
We can
clear.
hear you, Mongoose. So I'd love for someone to introduce you to our community. Viking, you wanna?
Well, this is Mongoose. He is an experienced and well-versed trader that we've known for a long time. He's been in our community. We've all actually been in the same community for many years now. And yeah, with no further ado, here's the guy I listen to.
Well, number one, I would like to thank Pandora's Box for inviting me.
Absolutely.
And thank you for inviting me. I am based in California, and my analysis is a little bit more centered around the United States and its economy, as I feel there's a direct connection to global markets, kind of based on the USD as a reserve. And that's kind of really how I base a lot of my analysis around, along with technicals when I'm taking trades. Far as market conditions, I really think that's a matter of perspective. I think technicals are really bad, looking for more downside, but I also think that's very good. I think that's very good for the crypto market. I think that's very good for equities, securities, bonds, and commodities. I'm involved in all these different aspects of investing and trading. And I do think that we are much closer to bottom levels than we are not. And I think, and I can really start from any point, whether it's United States CPI, United States PMI, United States inflation rates. When I'm looking at money supply, there's a lot of different things that I'm seeing, and whether this next downturn is a little like a 2008 type downturn, or 2000 downturn, or even a 1975 type downturn, which is, it's I can't rule that out. Every time I look at the Dixie, it just keeps popping up, breaking level, going on the higher highs. And then at the same time, I'm listening to what the United States Federal Reserve is saying, and actually watching what they're doing on their balance sheets, and what they're saying. So there's a really close interconnectivity. And I always like to start with these macroeconomic views before we kind of get into like taking trades or taking positions. There's a way to do it, in my opinion. And I probably should have started with I really thank you for the mention and the comment, TA expert. I don't consider myself an expert. I consider myself a student, and I consider myself always learning and always growing, and developing and trying new things and trying different things, and just kind of picking the things that work and things that speak to me directly, and I go from there. So thank you humbly for those comments.
You kind of have to in these markets always keep changing and trying new things, because the markets is changing as well. Like what worked in 2019 doesn't work today, for example.
This is I agree with this 100%. And what I kind of would like to speak to, and these are the best times to launch new projects, such as Pandora Box. These are the best times to start a new hedge fund. This is the best times to get into your favorite positions, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or NASDAQ, or just buy the whole globe via ETF. These are the best times. These are the times that most people will make all their money. So most of the time, everyone is, I don't want to say most, but a lot of people get scared, don't understand cycles, don't know what they're looking for, don't know the trend, what to look for in a trend. And there's a lot of different things. And I'll take Bitcoin as an example, as I feel that probably most are comfortable or up to speed or up to date with Bitcoin, its price levels, its technicals, and its histories. But 100% is correlated to global markets, 100%. And I know a lot of people don't see that or haven't put the connection together, but they are. And you can make your trades and your decisions and opinions and biases along with that. Doesn't mean 100%, but you're very, very, very close. And when I kind of get into that, it's the cycles that I look in the economic background. So there's quantitative easing, there's quantitative tightening, there's neutral points, and all of this is like kind of related to inflation and how they balance each other out. So we just kind of came out of probably the most aggressive quantitative easing in the world's history back in 2020, thanks to COVID. We all know central banks around the globe, USA, UK, EU, China, everywhere. Everyone had to do this. So they had to print money. We all know this. We all know the means. But it was historic. I was looking at as I was preparing for this, I was just kind of refreshing and reviewing it. There was almost 100% increase from 2020 COVID lows in QE to where we're currently at as of this month, nearly 100%, 90 to 100%, depending on where you plot it. Pretty high. So that is the QE part of it. Quantitative easing, money printing, and there's also the opposite of that. The opposite of that is quantitative tightening. Basically, when their central banks, the Federal Reserve, they're pulling money out. And the interesting thing I started looking at as the new prints came in this month was I'm looking at inflation, year-over-year rates. I'm looking at the money supply, and I'm looking at the balance sheets of the Federal Reserve of the United States in this instance. And also the US dollar. As the US dollar is sitting at currently, I'm looking at it at $104. Who would have thought that? $104. It can go to 120. We had 120 in 1975. And if you look at this chart, I mean, I watch this, a couple times a week. I take a look at it, certainly when the prints come out. But there does look like there was a money burn, like I want to say a cash burn, where they're pulling the money out of the circulation supply here in the United States. This is what keeps the U.S. dollar strong, and also keeps, we can get into the politics of it. Politics being United States being a world power, trying to remain a world power. This is what world powers do. They try to, remain in power. And USD as a reserve, a global reserve, this is one of the ways that they can do it, and using inflation as a method over it. So when I look at all these different factors, and then I can get into the technicals, we can go over various EMAs and SMAs and trading positions that I like to take on Bollinger Bands. All of this is telling me that this all started significantly more in May. You can trace it all the way back to a flatlining in February, second year of the current administration. My point being is when you had inflation skyrocketing, parabolic, now it's going flat. Now we get talk of quantitative tightening, and with the Federal Reserve saying we're going to start selling off our stock. If you look at the balance sheet, there was a significant sell. It goes from a parabolic angle to a downturn. So we could see that, and it just kind of correlates time and time again. So how that affects the markets, stock markets, crypto, securities. People start selling. Investors usually see these things first as they're watching these things more closely. Insiders, politicians, all those individuals that have first info. We usually get it, a day or two, maybe even a week later, when we start to see it on the chart. So, kind of to summarize all of this, I do expect more downside from Bitcoin, from SPY, from NASDAQ. I'm kind of watching China, because here's the interesting thing about China. I'll trade Chinese stocks, I'll trade Hang Seng, so I'm a little bit familiar with it. And I really think that they're kind of more close to recovery out of their recession as the United States is about to enter it. I can look layover, and you can see an inversion. They're inverted charts, say the Hang Seng over SPY. Really interesting. But once again, I really think it really comes down to COVID type situations, supply chain type issues, and of course, the Ukrainian Russia war. So those are very interesting aspects. So some of the levels that I'm looking for that are really key to me, and I'll disclose a little bit of positioning for myself. For example, in Bitcoin, I'm still hanging on to a position from 2020 lows, right? And the really interesting thing is if you look at a monthly chart on Bitcoin, those of you guys that traded with me, Sarah and Viking, I'm a big Bollinger Band trader. Right? I look for highs, I look for lows, I look for volatility when I'm taking trades, once I've ascertained the market condition. So the market conditions really bad, you know. And when I say really bad, we're talking war, supply chain, geopolitics, inflation. These are the conditions that I'm speaking of, not just like technicals. So market conditions are more like the sentiment in the market. What is going on with the economy? This is what I'm speaking to more directly, is the market conditions. And you know, these are all looking bad. And I think a key level for Bitcoin for me, this is going to make my next decision on what I'm going to do in my portfolio, is I'm looking at 18.5, 18.3 as a very, very critical level. And I can tell you this, when I'm looking at, you know, when I'm trying to find front runners or leaders or something like that that can tell me, is it possible? I look at stuff like GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin. It's already trading below its 2017 high. So that's something that you don't want to see. You know, you want to see it flat, you want to see it baselining. So it tells me that it is possible for something with a heavily allocated weight in Bitcoin, that it can reach to sub 2017 levels, and even closer to 2018 levels, on 14,000. I'm not ready to commit to that just yet, but I do see it, and I am formulating a plan for myself. But similarly, SPY is doing the same thing. NASDAQ is doing the same thing. I sold off the last of my Dow Jones today because I'm like, this is too much risk in the same market. So I'm just like, I'd rather not have that and accelerate whatever loss that may ensue. I'll take my risk, but I don't have to, you know, amp up my risk appetite. I can like scale out of that. So those are some of the things. But the thing is, like, these are the best opportunities. If Bitcoin goes to 14,000, 12,000, 10,005, these are the levels. This is where you're all going to make your money. This is where everything changes. And that's not to rule out Bitcoin 7,000, 8,000 on that one trend line that is catching more target, because it's a simple trend line. It's there. We're seeing COVID type deflation in the drawdown of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I mean, it's just another leg down, 2 more legs down, and you're there. But my point is, these are the opportunities that are going to set up your families. These are going to be the opportunities that set up your generations for years to come, your children, your grandchildren, etc. So, as I said in the beginning, it really depends on your perspective of a market conditions or what you can expect. If Bitcoin bounces here at 20,000, great. You know, I'm in position, right? If it goes down, oh, and I'll tell you this. So for the first time in 2 years, I actually went negative in my 2-year long position for the first time, and I will rebalance when I have to, depending on this week, next week, that sort of thing. And also, I probably have to stress this probably more than anything. Economic factor wise, is most investors right now are kind of on the sidelines, got the powder, they're waiting. What are they waiting for? We're waiting for the release of the United States GDP, which is going to come out for the prior quarter, 3 months. So when this comes out around July 10th, 11th to 12th, I forget the exact date, this announcement that'll come, and we're all expecting it, is going to be the actual announcement of an official recession in the United States. So, of course, when that news hits, that's going to have market volatility. You'll probably start to see insider trading days before, week before. But this is probably the most key piece of information. And there's a pattern to how these things work. So we get our PMI, or Producers Manufacturer Index, which is downtrending. I can tell you this, it's downtrending. Manufacturers are producing less products because of inflation, because of supply chain, and kind of labor is kind of getting in there. But we have not seen that drop in labor just yet, you know. And all these things, you know, once again, take a big part of the whole economic picture. So then we'll get our CPI, which just came out. That was negative. So we'll get another round of this the beginning of July. And if you get a bad PMI, then you get a bad CPI. Now we're waiting for the quarterly the GDP. When that comes out, we'll get our second contraction in United States GDP, and that will officially enter a recession, technically speaking. Many people think we're already in it. I do think we're in it already. When I started making my trades and my investment choices was on the yield curve inversion back in March. I started scaling out, started shorting, started pulling out. That, along with other various technicals, mainly centered around the daily 50 and the weekly 50 EMAs, respectively. So at those different levels, I'm like, okay, these are key levels. I'm going to get out and avoid these different positions. I didn't start taking short positions until very recently on a Bitcoin weekly chart. Because it was a setup I had been watching for months. I was surprised as it was developing and closing once again. I'm looking at Bollinger Bands. I'm looking at historical volatility, looking at all these different things, waiting for that perfect setup. And that happened on the weekly, a couple weeks ago. I was really surprised at that, as I never had seen that develop on a weekly time frame the way that I did. But I can tell you, respectively, that's exactly where Bitcoin is at on the monthly. So it's teetering at the bottom of that level. It's in a squeeze. We got heightened volatility, declining volume, a negative world economic outlook. We got corporations losing profit, downgrading their outlook for 2022, 2023. And as I mentioned the other day, corporation profits, they get it right because they have accountability. They have accountability to their shareholders, accountability as it's their job, if they want to continue working. So corporate profits, you can look at this on indexes. They took a big downturn here this past beginning of this month. And I really feel that that's going to be another indicator that that's where we're going. The United States is going to slow down in its growth and its expansion rate, and so is the rest of Europe. Europe probably might do it faster. China's probably coming out of it because I think China probably just said, what, we're going to crash the market back in the beginning of 2021, and we saw that, and it looks like it's reversing. But once again, these are the opportunities that you're looking for. I have another a fund setup. This one is for me and my wife. We've set it all up, and I'm not deploying capital until after the GDP release, a couple of weeks after that, and maybe I will move it up. But basically, I'm waiting for that piece of information, that reaction to that information, and then we'll go from there. I don't think there's going to be a way that you can lose 6 months to a year. You call it like late 2023, early 2024, when we can actually see enough of people coming back, and then that whole market reverses again. We'll just see the complete opposite of what we're seeing now. We go back from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, interest rates being pulled back down or going neutral, and something to look for on this next interest rate hike in another month, the new one. If we're going to go here in the United States, I don't know if everyone's aware, but we just went to a 75 base point increase. Sure, everybody's aware of that. For the highest increase in, I don't know, like 40 years, something like that, something ridiculous. Prior to that, it was a 50-point base increase. Now, what's going to be the next one? Is it going to be a 50 on top, on top of the 75? Is it going to be a 25 on top of the 75? Or is it going to be another 75? And once we get that GDP number, that's kind of going to tell us what we're going to do and what we can expect. If we can expect Bitcoin, sub 10K, or NASDAQ, back to 10,000, a SPY sub 3,000, et cetera, et cetera. Well, once again, those are opportunities, and the savvy trader, savvy investor, that's what you're looking for. And But you just kind of got to like balance that, rebalance, and know your risk appetite, know your horizon. You know, everyone is different. You know, you got bills, you got family expenses, you got, you know, like trips that you want to go on. You know, you can do all of that, and then you can do it all again on the next run. Once again, it's just a cycle. I think I may have said too much there.
Yeah, thank you so much. I didn't want to interrupt you because you were sharing such good information, and I think just there's a lot to say. But I really appreciated how it wasn't strictly TA, and you really took into account the geopolitical situation, and I think it's on a lot of people's mind, you know. And what I took away is like, okay, so don't buy the FUD that, you know, it's all gonna get destroyed and not come back. It's like, no, it's cyclical. And anyway, I feel better after listening to you. I don't let us know how you're feeling, and if you have questions for Mongoose. Yeah.
And I would like to say that I did visit your webpage, Pandora's Box. I did you know, navigate and explore. It sounds very exciting. It's got my curiosity. I like to be an early investor in a lot of different things, you know, I don't want to overstate myself, but I'm actively looking for investments. You know, as you know, I guess this is something I do as a you know, big part of my day is just looking for the right setup at the right time. Pandora's Box got my attention, and I've known Viking and Sora for a very long period of time. And what you guys are doing and what you guys are talking about is like way over my head, and it's always humbling. And I see the passion that you all have in your projects, and the way you speak about it, how you feel about it. It's important when you're investing.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for much.
Yeah,
thank you much for the words.
Very much. And also, if for anybody listening, you know, if you ever want to shout out to Mongoose in the group, I'm sure that he's well, I'll let you take it from there. I don't want to say anything that's outside of your program, but I do know that he likes to you know, share and educate from time to time.
Sure, I still got the old Discord from back in the day.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we need to get that going again. That was fun. And your group, is your group open, or how does that work?
Yeah, the group is open. I think, you know, my days of you know, charging fees, you know, those days are behind me. Did there, done that, and it's open. So if anyone's looking, you can find me on. If you don't know, I have a group, and when that group first started, you know, people were offering to pay money, right? So you know, I was like, okay, well, now I'll take a small fee for, you know, my knowledge and experience. And it wasn't a signals group per se, but we did a lot of live trading on there, and that was, you know, there was a point where I was much more of an active day trader. Everyone should have day trading skills if you're interested in trading and investing. I think that just sets you up for bigger and better things long term as a trader investor. But it's not the end all for sure. There are easier ways to make money with less risk. And trust me, I lost my fair share. I've made my fair share. And investing and understanding economics is by far way better than trading at a support level or resistance level or news or something like that. Just wait for those economic clues. And try to capitalize on that, and then apply your technical skills and you have a good chance. You have a good chance.
Well, right on, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you showing up and throwing us some knowledge like that.
Yes, very much appreciated. And because we get such a full commentary and expert opinion here, I'm feeling like ARC is over on the current market conditions, and it's probably time to kind of close the call. Do you guys agree with this? Does that feel right? And then we have to announce the winner.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no more questions. Sounds good.
Unless you have something burning to add to what Mongoose shared, then I feel like.
No, that was a pretty good ending right there.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Brilliant. Okay. So thank you so much for being with us, participating, asking your questions. We're so grateful that you're here. We're so grateful for your support and your just presence. And we do have a couple of things to announce. So we promise you that two things. One is that the best question will win a spot, and we need a little time to deliberate. And also, I think it would be helpful. I'm just throwing it out there, team. You let me know if this sounds like a good idea. You can go and vote on your favorite questions, and we can take it to consideration, like which question gets the most emojis, you know, the little likes or fire or whatever you want, heart. That could be helpful, and the team will deliberate, and then we'll announce the winner for the best question a little bit later on tonight. And then we also have the winner of the whitelist spot. This is a winner chosen at random through a software Joanna used. So she says she has the winner. So Joanna, you want to let us know who the lucky person is?
I'll be posting now. There is pick a random name. So what I did was now at the end, I was just adding the names of people that were here, still listening to us and still in the conversation. I took out the team members because we already have automatically a whitelist spot in the private sale, in the pre-sale. So the winner is Dreaming Heroes.
Right.
Let me know if you would like, and also I'm posting the link so you guys know the where I took it from and everything. If you're interested in the whitelist spot, just let us know in private message, and we will send to you the form.
Okay, fantastic.
Very nice.
So congratulations, Dreaming Hero, and yay, well done. You got lucky. And thank you for participating and asking your questions as well. You're a great presence in the group. So we are grateful for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Brilliant. So we'll let you know a little bit later on about the winner of the best question. And I think I just want to thank every single one of you on the team for being here and answering questions. Thank you to our special guest, Mongoose, for his knowledge, sharing so freely of his just his expertise and observations. And thank to every one of you in our community for being here with us tonight and being the best part of Unbox. Until next MAA, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.